So there we go. Thank you all for joining us tonight. My name is Heather Lorenz. I'm the Visual Arts Manager at the Northfield Arts Guild, and I'm so glad that you joined us for this virtual reception of Belonging. And I'd like to start by thanking the Minnesota State Arts Board for their generous support of the Northfield Arts Guild, and also to the Brown family and to 502 Gallery and Studio, Rebecca Tolley for their support of this exhibition Belonging. And thank you to all of our members, donors, and sponsors. Because of your support, we are able to continue making great art happen here in Northfield. Going to the next slide. So after I provide a brief overview of the exhibition, Kay Brown is going to announce the winners of the winning artworks of the Brown Family Awards in honor of Galen A. Brown. And then we will hear from the participating artists. This exhibition, Belonging, has been in development for over a year. The driving motivation behind it is to showcase the artists in our community and region who had not previously exhibited their work at the Guild. We initiated a call looking for artists specifically who were exploring the concept of belonging. As the subject is open to many interpretations, we wanted to learn what this concept meant to the artist and how they reference belonging in their artwork. This opportunity was open to all artists at any stage of their career. Art is reflective of the time and place in which it was created, and each viewer sees different themes and ideas based on their experiences. We're grateful to these artists for sharing their artwork with us, and which feels even more timely today, and acknowledge that the conversations around acceptance and inclusivity have been happening and continue in our community. Thank you for joining us in this conversation. During this virtual reception, viewers will be able to experience the artworks that reference themes around connection, inclusion, value, acceptance, and community, featuring 13 artists in their Guild debut. And I'm now going to introduce Kay.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep, but I'm just going to give you a little introduction here.
Okay, thank you.
I'm pleased to introduce Kay Brown, who served as the director of the Guild in the 1980s, early 1990s, and she's the curator of the Galen A. Brown collection. Galen was involved with the Guild for many years as an artist, exhibitor, and a volunteer on our gallery committee. And I'll now turn it over to Kay to share the announcement of the winning artworks.
Okay, thank you very much. And first of all, I want to say to all the artists, it was quite a wonderful, wonderful experience to view all of your artwork and your interpretation with your sense of belonging. It was marvelous. The picture that you see in front of you is the exhibit that Galen had in the Northfield Arts Guild, a retrospect that was in 2018. And Galen's work has been shown in the Smithsonian New Works on Paper traveling exhibit. He's in numerous, has had numerous gallery shows over the years, including the Northfield Arts Guild, and also is in private collections in both the United States and Europe. If you want to view some more of his artworks, please go to Galen A. Brown Art Collection on the website. Galen believed that art is not a lecture, but it is a vehicle to express and to encourage people to think. Galen was very, very much supportive of his fellow artists and encouraged them to continue and began artwork. Galen passed in 2013, and his family, including Melissa Sullivan, Jessica Brown, and Zina Brown, and myself, decided to create this award to honor his memory and his legacy in support of the arts. We can go ahead now and give the awards. You want to show the honorable mention, Heather?
It's up right now. It's
okay.
Yep.
Okay. Bringing Me Home was given, or Lantern Bringing Me Home was given honorable mention. And the delicacy of this piece does not undermine its strong message of belonging. It's well executed, understated, and beautiful to observe. Okay, the next piece. The third place award went to Standing Room. And one of Gala's mantras is that I want people to think. And this piece is one that invites the viewer to think. Belonging can be interpreted in many ways. It was chosen for its strong color and for its high emotional impact, which was part of Galen's legacy. Okay. To my unborn child, Galen created many artist books. And into my unborn child, the use of the photography, graphics, and storytelling combined made this a real award winner. Okay. Okay. The first place, Galen created many series of collages, and behind me you can see his collages of the Wounded Knee series. Successful collages draw you into them through pictures, shapes, and sometimes words. They are pieces that the viewer spends time observing and appreciating the art, but also the story they receive from it. Girls Like Us, First Generation, was one of those very successful collages, and so received the first place in the Galen Brown Family Awards. But again, I want to say to all of you, your artwork was very, very well received. My daughters and I spent a long time looking at the art pieces and discussing them and talking about not only their vision as art, but also the message behind them. So as Galen would say, I would really encourage you all to keep going, to keep being artists and believe in what you do. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Kay. We're so appreciative of you and your family supporting the artists in this exhibition. So thank you very much. And this is the point where we're gonna start hearing from the artists. And so Wyatt, you are up. Go ahead.
Hello, my name is Wyatt Baillif, and I created this piece shortly after my uncle died from a brain tumor early in January. And I think it's really a sentiment to what has happened since then. With the piece's title especially, Keep Going, it's just meant a whole lot to me and my family, especially. We're a pretty tight-knit family, so it was really great to have this gift that I gave to my cousins. For me, it represents belonging in a lot of different ways. There's a lot of symbolism, but it was just he was always an outdoors kind of guy. So they loved canoeing and kayaking as a family. They've been to Norway, and that it really was just a testament to him. I think it was a really good sense of belonging to me in this piece. I really wanted to keep the colors a very easy thing to look at and just kind of get lost in looking at different things. And that was pretty much my goal of this piece. I think I did a really good job, and I was really happy with it.
Thanks so much, Wyatt.
Thank you.
And Callie Breska isn't able to join us tonight, so I'm just going, and she did share some thoughts with us, and so I just wanted to read what she shared. She's a visual artist based in Minneapolis. Her work often explores the intersectionality of science and art to shed light on the human experience. Biology, mental health, and nostalgia are recurring themes that come to life through her years of abstraction, appropriation, and montage. Regardless of the medium, her work serves as a reflection of her humanity and encourages viewers to contemplate their own. After graduating from St. Olaf College in 2019 with undergraduate degrees in studio art and exercise science, she returned the following semester as a fifth-year emerging artist. Her work has always been cathartic, although many of her recent paintings achieve that in a relatively deceptive way. They appear fun and playful on the surface, but become more unsettling upon closer examination. Human anatomy is also frequently integrated into her work. She's always been drawn to bold swath of color and takes strong inspiration from the pop art movement. In addition, the flatness of the paint and the cleanliness of the outlines challenge the physicality of the paint to create the look of a digital drawing. All of her recent work is large scale, and she hopes to one day establish herself as a mural artist. Kelly's favorite quotation is, "The way you do anything is the way you do everything." She hopes her painting technique conveys a level of care, meticulousness, and patience, as well as a dedication to both the process and the concept. Thanks so much for sharing your thoughts with us, Kelly. Pam Buschow.
Hi, I'm pretty new at this, and I joined a class with Rebecca Tooley, and she introduced me to cold wax and oil. I've always been an oil painter, I should say, for like up to 20 years, something like that. But this was so new to me, and I loved it. And I love the colors, and I like the concept of the connectedness. I guess the reason I said into the night and how it refers to my painting, as we think about night, we think about darkness. And I tend to think that there's darkness, you know, not necessarily in evening things, but darkness in knowledge, darkness in knowing things. And I think that in the art realm, you have this connectedness with other artists, and the visual. I'm not very good at speaking, I'm sorry. So I am just very thankful that I was chosen to be in this. I intend to be challenged and continue on. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pam. Appreciate you sharing. Next, we have Wen-Li Chen.
Hi. First of all, I really want to thank you, like Heather and Brown family, like to provide such help and opportunity for artists from different interdiscipline area. And then I think, and also I really appreciate it's pretty enough diversity we think in this exhibition. I'm really glad to see that kind of things happen in Minnesota. So for this piece, actually, most of my book is usually takes me lots of time to soak in and to digest. So average bookmaking, it's about 2 years to get it done. And then it's more so my bookmaking process is more my personal experience and reflections when I have to constantly moving in between different area, including in my own family, because we have so many different family members from different background. I am basically half Chinese, half Taiwanese indigenous, and then also because when I went to UK to study abroad, so I start to realize huge difference in between individual. And then also once I get married with my husband, he is American guy from Wisconsin, which is I didn't know at that time when I met him in UK, because I thought he was British. which is actually I prefer. No, it's just a joke. Anyway, so and then so we actually like moved back in moved back in America, like I think it's probably like in 2015. So after I graduated from like UK, my life just changed like it dramatically, like in terms of like my experience of being outsider or experience of being immigrant. Like I still remember like when first time I got into Netherlands, and then customs there in European basically treat us like like a third party country person. And then so it's just like just so like a lot of stuff I want to try to express, not really try to very specifically talk about it. It's because I always have that kind of very complicated, complex emotion and feeling, like in my lifetime. So because I also have a lot of different some positive, some negative experience of being individual. So, and then this one happens because like I just realized I'm getting older, and then my parents and my grandparents, they are kind of aging, and also like to think about my generation in Taiwan, actually is really rare to think about marriage and having a baby, because it's really hard to maintain those kind of like relationship or like situation, because it's so expensive to live in Asia. So I didn't dare to think about one day I can get married, or I can have like the child. So I kind of always try to imagine like oh, what if like I have a child, what will I tell her or tell him, like what we are going through as like indigenous like in Taiwan. But I just don't want to just talk one thing. I already created some sort of a round like to like reflect all everyone's that's in on the earth, actually they have the similar experience as well. So so it's kind of like try to create that kind of something in common, like to reveal or to express that kind of universal feeling.
Thanks so much, Wen-Li. And I just want to let everybody know that the video with and to my unborn child, a video of flipping through the book so you can see the entire book is on the Arts Guild page, so northfieldartsguild.org. So you can check out both of those. So thanks so much, Wen-Li.
Thank you.
Sophia Davies.
Hi, I'm Sophia. I'm a current student at St. Olaf, and I just want to say how excited I am to be part of this exhibition. With my piece, Detached Identity, a Family, I wanted to explore the theme of belonging by taking a close look at my own community, which I determined is most accurately my immediate family, consisting of my father, mother, brother, and myself. So I did a little photo shoot with them to see what kind of expressions and angles I wanted to portray in my pieces. And I ended up selecting the photos that emitted very little expression. And I think I was drawn to these the most because it allowed the work as a whole to embody a more serious, contemplative tone. I also wanted the face of each drawing to realistically represent each person's individual features, which I contrasted with a stark, somewhat graphic outline of clothing and hair so that the eye is immediately drawn to the face. The title Detached Identity comes from the notion that even though a family is considered homogeneous, it's also very individual. Much of who I am is a result of my familial influences, but I realize that as I explore my own identity as a young woman, I am becoming increasingly detached from my family in a good way. So I decided to design my work so that each portrait stands alone, but the continuity of style, perspective, and expression makes them a single unit. that's why the drawings are separated physically. They can be seen as one system, but they can also be seen as distinct individuals. That's about all I have on my pieces. I just wanted to thank you for the opportunity to be a part of the Northfield Arts Guild. I had such a great time working with the curators and creating some art for the exhibition. Thanks.
You're welcome, Sophia. Thanks so much for being a part of this. Anna Freeberg.
Hello, my name is Anna Freeberg. This title is Hortensia, mostly in honor of my grandmother. Hortensia is also the Spanish word for hydrangea, which is also connected to the flowers on my head. The blue ones specifically are hydrangeas. This is an emulation of Frida Kahlo's portraits, which I find is for me is a really strong female Mexican artist. And when you go to Mexico, all the vendors have multiple options for things with her imagery, and they're just, you can tell they're very proud to have her in their history. Much of the symbolism and imagery in this piece is connected to my family. The bird on my shoulder is a red-winged blackbird, one of the first birds that my grandfather and I identified when we would birdwatch when I was young. And it also represents the migration between the United States and Mexico, which is a journey that my family has taken. And the shirt I'm wearing is a kind of traditional woven shirt that is often found in Mexico, but is become more popular in kind of modern fashion, which is pretty cool. I'm really happy with this piece. It was done a couple years ago during my first year at St. Olaf. So my hair is a lot shorter and is a lot longer now. And I did go through a long journey with my hair. I would often straighten it to try to tame down the waves, but I've gone without touching any hot tools for about 1.5 years now. So that is also seen in this piece as well.
Thanks so much, Anna. Thanks for sharing your stories. Lillian Ingabire is created these collages, and she isn't able to be with us tonight, but she did send in some thoughts that she said I could read on her behalf. Lillian writes, "Thank you for giving me this opportunity to take part in the Belonging exhibition. This has been a great chance to reflect on the themes that persist in my artwork. I realize that I will continue to explore themes of home and belonging as I continue to discover and build my identity. Even more, as a Black person in this country and in this world, the question of home and belonging still persists and only seems to grow more pertinent. As violent acts of racial discrimination against people who look like me persist and aggravate, so does the overwhelming feeling that I am not welcome in this country. So where should I call home? What would it mean to call this place home? Who decides who belongs to a place and who does not?" Thanks so much, Lillian, for sending in your thoughts and sharing them with us. Abigail Manneberg.
Hi, I want to share everyone's thanks, whoever already spoke. I'm very happy to be part of this show, and hearing the artists talk, I have to say that I feel that I belong. So the theme is really presented, and I feel like I share some of the themes with the other artists. In my work, I ask questions about connection to land and community. What makes us feel that we belong, and what actions and life circumstances bring us closer or further away from feeling of that deep connection. I grew up in Israel, and I left about over a decade ago, and I still struggle with those questions and thoughts. My artistic practice focuses on paintings and video, and in this show I present both one piece that is a video and one that is a diptych painting. which is a part of a larger body of work that I'm engaged in. And I guess through this different media of both video and painting, I examine relationship or my relationship to two homes, to those two lands. And I look at the past and I look at the present, and I constantly search for connections. The video piece incorporates my my family and friends and community from the past. It was It was a performance that I've done there in Israel, bringing some questions and some taboos onto the surface, questioning the meaning of home and how do you I don't know if decide, but I brought some questions about place. And then with my painting, I'm continue to ask those questions through this lens of looking at my children here in Minneapolis, and then thinking about how do you make those connections between two places and, in a way, two different realities. Thank you.
Thank you, Abigail. And Rynearson.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for including me in this exhibition. It was a real honor to be selected. I'm really surprised and pleased by the variety of the artwork in the exhibition. I love the fact that everybody has a different perspective with their work and a different way of expressing their idea of belonging in the show. My work is primarily in painting. This particular piece that was included in the show was an earlier piece, sort of a beginning of this new series that I'm kind of working on now that has to do with, I guess, belonging in the sense of being a being in the world that also exists within the whole universe and creation, and things that are both the very smallest of things that are so similar to the very largest of things and ideas in the universe, and how it all sort of comes together. And yet, with my process, I'm often thinking about things that are coming apart and coming together at the same time. So I literally work that way as well, where I'm fragmenting things and then I try to find a way to put them back together again. So it's really it's a little different angle than sort of a very personal story, and it's more part of a whole series of things that I'm working on. But thank you very much for including me.
Thanks so much, Anne. I'm going to see if Emily joined in. Oh, good.
Is it working?
It's working. Yep.
Perfect. Thanks. Thank you, everybody, for watching and for having this exhibit. I was thrilled when my embroidery pieces were included, just because over the past centuries, embroidery is something that just happens in the home. So I was thrilled to see it celebrated as artwork. I have always been very connected to the land. As a child, I was always outside, running through the mud and the woods, picking flowers. And so essentially, nature and the land around me inspire me to create. And embroidery and other fiber arts have always been a way to unwind and do something meditative with my hands. And I guess process what I've been looking at all day, which is usually plants. And the work that I have is made with mostly recycled materials. I used linen drapes from my childhood and extra yarn scraps from different projects that I've been working on. I wish you could all see my pieces in person and touch them, just because there's so much texture with all the different yarn pieces that I use. And I guess more recently, the way that I've had nature in my life is through different floral libations and baking products or baking projects that I've been working on. And last year was my first year as a flower farmer, which is super exciting to start a small business and to be growing beautiful flowers. And I wanted to read the last part of my artist statement because I think it captures the meaning behind my work really well. As I nourish and cherish the land I live in, it in turn nourishes my body, my heart in the beauty that I'm surrounded by, and my soul as I'm constantly drawn towards my loving Creator. When I create, it's to reflect the deep connection that I have with and to the land and the delight that I have in being a farmer. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily. Johanna Torbenson.
I'm inspired by the tension between reality and individual perception. So you'll often see a bit of surrealism in my work. I'll talk about symbolism, but the reality is that these works are meant to express deep feelings and not necessarily be a product of calculated symbolism. When I started the drawing Matrix, I was thinking about the massive responsibility of suddenly having 7 kids instead of 4. The resulting chaos was overwhelming at times, but I grew and experienced a lot of extreme highs along with the lows. The woman in this drawing, who represents me, is changed from her experiences. She grew roots, scales, and feathers, for example, and the babies grew out of her with various plants in organic forms, some prickly or hard, and others softer or more nourishing. She escape
I think we're losing you,
connection
Johanna. Oh,
to
yeah.
that infinite provides a system. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Matrix is a word that means the set of conditions that provides a system in which something grows or develops. In Latin, it means womb. As an adoptive mom, I didn't get to hold 3 of my children when they were babies, and I contemplate that time with this drawing. Okay, the next drawing, it's called the Silent Nourisher. I was thinking about how at certain times you can't say what's on your mind, and that there are experiences and feelings that you can't talk about or share because there are actually no words for them. I will list a few of the ideas I had while drawing this work. Her lips are pierced shut, so she cannot speak. Some experiences make her feel like an alien. Her arm is changing and growing scales. She wears her big heart outside and exposed where it's vulnerable. The egg-like forms represent infinite potential. She's either nourishing a flower-like growth or she's being nourished by it, and she has a feeling of being underwater. And then the last painting is called Alejandro, Cherished Son. I was mostly just painting a portrait of my gorgeous teenage son, who I only met when he was 12. But I was also thinking about how in this life we make choices. The snake, which is based on a Colombian snake, a snake found in Colombia where he's from, represents the dual expression of good and evil, and the feathers in the background, which also look like lush tropical foliage, also in Colombia, they also represent the good or evil, either one. Both the feathers and the snake are interacting with the human figure, enticing him to make choices. I used a special method to paint the snake in this drawing. I poured clear acrylic gel medium onto a part of the snake and then waited for it to dry before I pieced it all together onto the canvas. The result is a super shiny, smooth texture that everyone wants to touch when they see it. I did experiment and tried this out on a little practice canvas. So I usually try to keep that nearby so that when people come over and see the painting, I can, hand them the practice canvas and they can feel that so that they don't have to touch the actual painting. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yifei Zhu.
Okay, Good evening. Hi, everyone. My name is Yifei, and I'm a junior college student at Carleton studying studio art and psychology. So I first heard of this Belonging exhibition in late February when the pandemic wasn't affecting the state that much. This prompt has got me to think about belonging a lot. I personally understand belonging as a sense of affiliation, of safety and closeness. However, for me, it always seemed to me that I'm stuck in the middle of two cultures. For most of my family members back home in China, I'm certainly westernized. I openly talk about those liberal ideas, and my tops are always too short to them. For my American college friends, however, I am the Chinese girl. My favorite food is ramen, and sometimes I can't get my ideas across as I express myself so much better in my mother tongue. So my culture, my upbringing are definitely something that is deeply embedded in me. Otherwise, I wouldn't spend 2 weeks making this Lenten piece. But I don't think that this belonging to my culture restricts me in any sense, or otherwise I wouldn't choose to come to the States for college alone. But which group do I belong to? I wasn't sure. After the COVID-19 pandemic broke out, everything changes. I start to look at my life and the world in a different way. It seems like the world is pushing everyone away from each other more than ever. Hatred, conflicts, and especially acts of racist violence to minority groups have impacted us in heartbreaking ways. However, all of us as human beings living on this planet are essentially so closely connected to each other that almost no one can wall themselves off from the consequence of a global crisis. This was when I feel like my notion of belonging needs to be expanded. What is belonging determined by? Is it determined by culture, nationality? Do I affiliate with someone, support someone, understand someone based on those? Or does those even matter? I feel like I just need to give more, to stand in others' shoes more, and to feel what others feel more. In my piece, the orchid is a symbol of a gentleman of integrity in Chinese culture. What my culture has taught me is to always live up to an orchid, to be someone who's noble and virtuous. Last but not least, I want to thank the Northfield Arts Guild for giving me this opportunity to show my piece. This is my first exhibition ever, and I think this experience that I had, I'll cherish forever. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, congratulations, all of you artists. This has been such a wonderful experience. I've enjoyed working with each and every one of you. I hope we can like all give a virtual round of applause and just, yay. These artists deserve it. This was such an experience, and thank you for sharing your stories and your thoughts. And these conversations are so important to have, and I just really appreciate you all being a part of this and to sharing your thoughts and your stories with us. This is just a wonderful opportunity to showcase all of you.
Heather, excuse me, is Helene there?
Oh, wait, yeah, no. Did I, oh no.
You're still there.
Did I skip past? Oh, I apologize. Helene, I apologize. Are you still there, Helene?
I am.
Thank you, Kay. Oh my gosh. Let me go back to your, that was an oversight on my part.
Did everybody leave though?
So much. Yes. I'm getting back to your piece.
Didn't the audience take off though?
Nope.
Oh, hi everyone.
Nope, we're all still here.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, and everybody. Yep, I'm gonna get back to Helene's piece here. Bear with me as we go through the slideshow.
Well, we can see all the lovely works again.
Yes. Helene, thank you for your understanding.
No big deal. That's what happens when you have a W last name.
Oh, we're getting there.
Well, as one of the prize winners, I thought it was rather important for people to see her work.
Thank you so much. There we go.
Huh.
This is, yay! Helene, please take it away.
There.
There we go. Well, hi, I'm Helene, obviously. I tend to work with the human figure and try to express how they are feeling internally. So I use an imagined biology, and I make up organs and circulatory structures or whatever, depending on what it is I'm sort of focused on at the time. This particular piece, Standing Room, I was thinking about all those times when we are close together but still anonymous. So I was thinking about standing at the bus station, or standing in elevators or places like that, where the people around us tend to be anonymous, and yet we might be feeling threatened by somebody depending on how close they are. There's so many social situations where you will feel at home or awkward or even fearful, and we go through them every single part of the day. So I was sort of exploring that with this. And I like to use really bright colors in a sense to help bring people in. I think what happens with my work a lot is all the bright colors make people think that happy-go-lucky things are going on, but then as you sort of start looking closer, you realize that a darker sort of intent might be there. And I am using acrylic inks for the most part on this. Some heavy body acrylics, but then I draw directly on the canvas with the stoppers in the acrylic inks. So I don't know that I have a lot to say, so you probably went back for a very short speech, but thank you for doing that.
An important speech. Thank you. And thank you for your understanding. So thank you so much. I will just flip through again. I'll share with everybody that the exhibition will stay up online on northfieldartsguild.org website. And so you'll be able to look through these pieces in the catalog. Many of them are for sale. So, and all of the purchases will support both the artist and the guild. And there are videos there and photos. And I just thank you for joining us tonight and celebrating these artists. And I thank all of you artists for sharing your work and your thoughts and your stories with us. So I'll flip through. We'll get to see a slideshow again of everybody. And thank you.
And it was an honor. It was an honor on behalf of the Brown family to be able to see this show. So thank all artists for coming.
Thank you, Kay. So
Thank you.
there we go. Thank you. Thank you, artists. Thank you, attendees. This was very fun. Thank you.
Thank you.